Good day, all. So I know I've been running behind a little bit on my Doctor Who full series overview update thing, whatever you want to call it. But I'm back with episode 11. So we're still in the Jon Pertwee years. So to start off, where we left off, the mutants. So now we're approaching, well, we're actually right in the middle of Jon Pertwee's run as the Doctor. And within here, some of the stories that probably they're not completely terrible, but they also tend not to be some of his most popular. But anyways, so here's the mutants. This also includes an interesting documentary on the representation of black actors in Doctor Who and on British TV in general during the 1950s, or sorry, 1970s. And it's this was one of the few serials in the classic series run that actually featured a black actor. Obviously, that's a problem that's been addressed with the newer series, but here they're kind of, I guess, just placing it within the context of the times. The story itself, not one of my all-around favorites, a little slow. But yeah, that's really about all I have to say about that one. Then we go on to the Time Monster. A lot of Doctor Who fans generally think that this was probably, if not the worst story, one of the worst stories in Jon Pertwee's run. It's a little slow in places, and then it just kind of gets a little, I don't know, abstract odd or whatever near the end when they go see Atlantis. And the Time Monster itself is an interesting costume, to put it mildly. And then here you have the original edition of the Three Doctors. This was the 2004. I don't have the special edition, so we'll just make do with this. But this was kind of a special story. That was a real milestone for Doctor Who, lasting 10 years, and especially since the late 1960s had been pretty sketchy for whether or not the show would actually continue. Was definitely something to celebrate by this point. And this is also the only story that features the first three Doctors altogether. So you got William Hartnell, Patrick Troughton, and Jon Pertwee. Now, Hartnell himself, his health was deteriorating rather seriously at this point, or severely by this point. He actually passed away, I think it was maybe 2 years or so after the special was shot. So mainly because he wasn't really mobile at the time, his scenes were pre-shot and then shown on the viewer, and you can really tell when they when you see him as as how badly he had deteriorated by that point, which is definitely rather unfortunate. But Troughton and Pertwee are the two main elements of the show, and as they were actually in the Five Doctors, because they were the only two previous Doctors who actually were in that feature in the Five Doctors to actually play the Doctor, because obviously William Hartnell was played by a different actor, and Tom Baker refused to participate. So it was almost kind of like the Three Doctors Part 2, Pertwee and Troughton again. And this wasn't that long after Troughton had left. This was only about 3 years, so he still had his Doctor down pretty well. In this one, they're fighting Omega, and some people have complained that the story maybe could have been a little bit better, but there tends to be a problem with multi-Doctor stories where you try to fit in too much, and then the story itself is a little shallow. Which was one of the issues with this one. Although I've actually always enjoyed this. This also has video footage from, I think it was Pebble Mill. Pebble Mill at one in 1972, which is actually not on the later edition. If you have the newer edition of this, essentially talking with Patrick Troughton about the special and the anniversary and all that. So that's pretty cool. And then last but not least, we have Carnival of Monsters, the original 2000 2003 release, so this has been around for a while. This was one of the earliest Region 1 DVD releases. This is really where you're noticing a change of pace in the Pertwee years, where they had gone off-world several times in the earlier seasons, to kind of, well, in the previous season, to try and get away from the Earthbound sort of, I guess, trap that they got into. And now with Carnival of Monsters, you really see the show going back to its sort of science fiction roots. And stylistically, this show also is kind of a sort of a foretelling of what the Tom Baker years would be like. This is just a very basic release. The early DVD releases had almost nothing in terms of special features. This is one that one of these days I would actually like to get the special edition, and if I ever do, I will obviously do a review of it. This one also guest stars Ian Marter, who would later play Harry Sullivan in the Tom Baker years as well, so this is his Doctor Who debut. But anyway, so this is part 11 of my Doctor Who 50th Anniversary DVD overview series. So part 12 should be around shortly. So as always, everyone, thank you for watching and have a great day.